Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another episode of The Math Behind the Modules. All right, lesson 5, putting it all together. Didn't know we took it apart. But anyway, here we go. We're going to put this all together now. So exercises 1 through 15. 15 exercises. Wow, we got some work to do. Perform the indicated operation to write each polynomial in standard form. So standard form, I'm just going to remind you, is amazing. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. There is standard form. Okay. All right, perform the indicated operation to write each polynomial in standard form. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute. I'm not going to do a tablet. So I'm going to distribute. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times 3x is 3x cubed. X squared times a -1 is negative x squared. Change colors for the second. Be careful with your signs. I always do those first, and I'm going to get an x squared and I'm going to line it up with the like term. So negative times a positive is negative. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. Notice where I wrote this underneath the x squared. -3 times a positive 3 is a negative 9x. Negative times a negative is positive. 3 times 1 is 3. And then all we have to do now is just bring down our terms. X to the 4th plus 3x cubed. Negative x squared minus 3x squared is negative 4x squared minus 9x plus 3. So when I distributed this binomial into this trinomial, I got a 4th degree polynomial. And there's the answer. Okay, number 2. Continuing in this fashion, I'm just going to distribute. Oh, this is minus, by the way. Careful. So when I see a minus, I'm just going to take this whole thing here and line it up underneath. So I'm going to put a minus out here, and I'm going to put x squared plus 2x minus 5. I'm just going to write that underneath, so this is no longer here, because we're just going to line it up and subtract. 5x squared minus x squared is 4x squared. Negative 3x minus 2 more is a negative 5x. Negative 7 minus a negative 5 is plus 5. That will give us minus 2. And we're done. That was simple. 4x squared minus 5x plus minus 2. Okay, this one is division. Don't forget your spacers. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to have x minus 2. And then I'm going to put x cubed minus 0 or plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 8. Okay, you need all of your terms. So x cubed divided by x is x squared. X squared times x, x cubed. Subtract. X squared times a negative 2 is negative 2x squared. Okay. So x cubed minus x cubed is 0. 0 minus a negative is plus 2x squared. Okay, bring down the 0x. All right, x goes into 2x squared. I need a 2x. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times a negative 2 is negative 4x. Subtract. And 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. 0 minus a negative 4x is a positive 4x. It's plus 4x. Bring down the minus 8. X goes into 4 times. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times a negative 2 is negative 8. If I subtract these, I get 4x minus 4x is 0. Negative 8 minus a negative 8 is plus 8. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0. No remainder. The answer is x squared plus 2x plus 4. Okay, number 4. We have 3 binomials. We're multiplying. Now remember that multiplication is commutative, meaning order doesn't matter. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So it doesn't matter what order we do these in. I prefer to leave the first term alone just so it lines up nice. Whoops. X plus, close parentheses, okay. X plus 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work these here. So I'm going to distribute the x, and I'm going to get x times x is x squared. X times 3 is a positive 3x. And then I'm going to distribute the negative 2 times x is going to be negative 2x. Negative 2 times 3 is minus 6. So notice how I lined them up just like the last problem. So we're going to combine these. So I'm going to bring down this x plus 1, and then we're going to multiply it by x squared. 3x minus 2x is plus x, and then minus 6. So this gave us x squared plus x minus 6. Finally, I'm going to distribute the x throughout this. So x times x squared, I'll write it over here, is x cubed. X times x is x squared. X times a negative 6 is negative 6x. And then when I do the next row, the 1, I'm going to line it up the like terms and distribute the 1. So that is going to give me 1 times x squared, which is x squared. I'll put that under the x squared. 1 times x is a positive x. 1 times negative 6 is minus 6. And then when we add these terms, x cubed is by itself. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5x. And minus 6 is alone, so that comes down. Or we could think of it as plus 0, and 0 minus 6 is negative 6. So the answer is x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 6. Hopefully you got that answer. Okay, so number 5, be really careful. If there are signs between the parentheses, it is not multiplication. This is subtraction. This is subtraction. So I'm going to write x minus 2 right under here. So I'm going to do one at a time. So I'm going to write x minus 2 underneath, and I'm going to subtract them. X minus x is 0. 1 minus a negative 2 is plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. This just came out to be 3. So this is equal to 3. And I'm going to subtract x plus 3. So actually I need to line that up. Okay, so my constants are lined up now. So think of this as 0x plus 3. 0x minus x is a negative x. 3 minus 3 is 0. This is my answer. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. All right, here we go. Now we're distributing a binomial into a trinomial. Watch your signs, line up like terms. Very simple. X times 2x squared is 2x cubed. X times a negative 5x is negative 5x squared. And then finally, x times 7 is 7x. Okay? Very easy, and now I distribute my 2. 2 times 2x squared is 4x squared. Line it up with your x squared term. If you feel the need to put a space in here, that would be 0x cubed, okay? And then then 2 times a negative 5x is negative 10x, and 2 times 7 is 14. And if you wanted to put plus 0 up here, that's fine too. So now we're just going to combine like terms, see how they're all nicely lined up. So 2x cubed plus 0x cubed is 2x cubed. Negative 5x squared plus 4x squared is negative 1x squared. We don't need the 1. 7x plus a negative 10x is negative 3x. And 0 plus 14 is 14. So the answer is 2x cubed minus x squared minus 3x plus 14. Okay. Alrighty, number 7. I'm going to write x minus 9 out here. I'm going to write x cubed minus 2x squared minus 65x plus 18. Nothing got skipped. I don't need any spacers. And now I say, okay, x cubed divided by x is x squared. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times a negative 9 is negative 9x squared. I always put these in parentheses just to remember that I have to distribute that negative. X cubed minus x cubed is 0. Negative 2x squared minus a negative is plus. Negative 2 plus 9 is 7x squared. Bring down the negative 65x or minus 65x. X, I need a 7, I need an x, so that's going to be plus 7x. 7x times x is 7x squared. 7 times a negative 9 is negative 63x. And I'm going to subtract. 7x squared minus 7x squared is 0. Negative 65x minus a negative 63 is plus 63. That will give me negative 2x. Bring down my plus 18. And I have an x, I have negative 2x, I need a minus 2 here. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times a negative 9 is plus 18. And when I subtract, negative 2x minus a negative 2x is plus 2x, which is 0. And 18 minus 18 is 0. No remainder. My answer is x squared plus 7x minus 2. Okay, look at here and look at here. This is not in standard form. Watch your sign. So first thing I'm going to do is take this plus positive 2x squared and put it here underneath the x squared. Positive 2x squared. The next thing I'm going to do is I should have just moved that. Let's just do this. Now I'm going to focus on this minus x. It's a minus x, so it's still a minus x, rearranging the order. And then I'm going to move over here, and that's a positive 2. There is no sign. Don't think of this as a negative 2. This is minus a positive 2, so I'm going to put plus 2 here. So now I rearrange this parentheses underneath so that the like terms line up, and my sign is minus. So I'm going to subtract. 2x or x squared minus 2x squared is a negative x squared. Negative 3x minus a negative is plus x. That'd be a negative 2x. 2 minus 2 is 0. My answer is negative x squared minus 2x. Okay, page 2. Always be careful with your orders. This is x squared minus 3x plus 2. This is not in standard form, so I'm going to rearrange this. So I'm going to rewrite the first one. Nothing will change. X squared minus 3x plus 2. I'm going to multiply that by 2x squared minus x plus 2. I just rearranged this and put it in standard form. Now I'm going to distribute. This is going to be 3 distributions. So x squared times 2x squared is 2x to the 4th. X squared times a negative x is negative x cubed. And x squared times 2 is 2x squared. Let me change to blue for the next one, the middle term. Watch your signs. Negative times a positive, negative. 3 times 2, 6. X times x squared, x cubed. Do that every time. All righty. Negative times a negative, positive. 3 times 1, 3. X times x, x squared. distribute to the end. Negative times a positive, negative. 3 times 2, 6. I have an x, no x, just comes over as x. Okay? And then finally, I'm going to distribute this 2. All right? And before I do that, I actually should have put this under here because we want to line up our like terms. Let me just do that now. All right, sorry about that. So there it is. And then the third one, the purple one, I'm going to line up underneath, and we just add it all up and it just comes together nicely. So 2 times 2 is 4x squared. Put it under the x squared term, 4x squared. 2 times a negative x is negative 2x, lines up with the linear term. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so if you line it up like this, then we're done, and we just bring these down. 2x to the 4th. Negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7x cubed. 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 4 is 9x squared. Negative 6 minus 2, negative 8x plus 4. Okay, and there's the answer. Okay, here is this one. So just x minus 3. 3, 2, 1, 0. Don't need any spacers. I'm going to write x cubed minus x squared minus 5x minus 3 and divide. Alrighty, so x cubed divided by x is x squared. X squared times x, x cubed. X squared times negative 3, negative 3x squared. I like putting parentheses around these. X cubed minus x cubed is nothing, 0. Negative x squared minus a negative is plus. That will give me 2x squared. Bring down the minus 5x. 2x squared divided by x is 2x. 2x times x, 2x squared. 2x times a negative 3 is negative 6x. Subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. Negative 5x minus a negative 6x is plus 6x. That will give me x. Bring down the minus 3. X divided by x is 1. 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And when I subtract these, I get x minus x is 0. Negative 3 minus a negative or plus 3 is 0. No remainder. Answer is x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, number 11 is just like number, what, 9? But I don't have to put it in order, it already is. So let's just start. I'll use red for starters. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared positive times negative, let's do it that way. Negative 1 times 9, 9. X squared times x, x cubed. Positive times a positive, so now we're coming over here. Positive times a positive is positive. 1 times 1 is 1. X squared is just brought over, or x squared times 1 is x squared. Okay, onto the green, 7x. Positive times a positive is positive. Oh, I don't want to put it next to it. I almost made that same mistake from last time. Positive times a negative, Positive times a positive is positive. 7 times 1 is 7. X times x squared is x cubed. That's going to be 7x cubed. I'll line it up with my cubic. Positive times a negative is negative. 7 times 9 is 63. X times x is x squared. The x squareds line up. Positive times a positive is positive. 7x times 1 is 7x. I want to go back up here and put plus 0x. That's fine. Okay, and now let's move on to the last one. X squared plus x squared is x. What am I doing? I'm on 12. Just delete this. All right, lost track there. negative 12 times x squared. So a negative times a positive is negative. 12 times 1 is 12x squared. Negative times a negative is positive. 12 times 9 is 108x. Negative times a positive is negative 12. So if I wanted to come up here, I could say plus 0 and plus 0. And then all I do is draw my line and add all these, and we're done. Bring down x to the fourth because there's nothing else there. We could have done this 0x to the fourth plus 0x to the fourth plus 0x cubed, just so we have a term for every column. And I mean row. Yeah, column. It was a column. So x to the fourth, negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2 plus 0 is still negative 2x cubed. 1 minus 63 is negative 62. Minus 12 is negative 74x squared. 0 plus 7 is 7. 7 plus 108 is 115x. 0 plus 0 is 0, minus 12 is minus 12. My answer is x to the fourth minus 2x cubed minus 74x squared plus 115x minus 12. Okay. Next one. Simple. There's a plus sign here. See this x cubed? Line it up over here. Put x cubed over here. And if you want to put the parentheses, that's fine. Plus x squared goes under the x squared plus x squared. Plus 6x plus 6x minus 12 minus 12. So I'm now going to ignore this. It is now under here. It was plus. 2x cubed plus x cubed is 3x cubed. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5x squared. Negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1x. Negative 2 plus a negative 12 is negative 14. And there's our answer. Much easier to add and subtract than it is to divide. Okay? All right. All right, number 13. Again, we have to do the distributive property. No big deal, just be careful. Start with blue this time, I guess. So I'm going to distribute the x cubed through all three terms. This is in standard form. This is in the proper order from greatest to least, okay? X cubed times x squared is x to the fifth. X cubed positive times a negative is negative. 1 times 4 is 4. X cubed times x is x to the fourth. Then I distribute this. Positive times a positive. 4 times x cubed is 4x cubed. Okay, switching to red. For the second part, negative 8 times a positive x squared is negative 8x squared. That's going to come over here. Since these terms do not, there's no terms that line up, I'll just put it right next to it. Negative 8x squared. Distribute the negative times a negative is positive. 8 times 4 is 32x. And then a negative times a positive is negative. 8 times 4 is 32. So there's my answer. Okay. 5x to the fourth minus 4x squared plus 4x cubed minus 8x squared plus 32x minus 32. Be careful with your signs. All right, this one. Hopefully you get a feel for this now. This is getting pretty routine. All right, so I'm going to draw this. 3, 2, 1, 0, nothing out of order, nothing missing, don't need spacers. Minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Long division. If you're doing tablet form, that's fine. I prefer this. X cubed divided by x is x squared. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 2 is 2x squared. Subtract. Put my parentheses here. X cubed minus x cubed is 0. Negative 2x squared minus 2x squared is negative 4x squared. bring down the minus 5x. X times negative 4 is negative 4x, and I need another x. So negative 4x times x is negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times a positive 2. So I didn't write that. Negative 4x squared. Negative times a positive, negative. 4 times 2, 8x. Subtract. 0. Negative minus a negative is plus. Negative 5 plus 8 is 3x. Bring down this plus 6. X, 3x, I need a 3. 3 times x, 3x, 3 times 2, 6. Subtract these, and I get 3x minus 3x is 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. So my answer is x squared minus 4x plus 3. And last but not least, we are going to add this, and this is quite simple. This is my largest term. I'm going to put it under the cube over here. So I'm going to rearrange this, minus x cubed. Then I'm going to focus on this term, minus x. I'm going to line that up over here, put minus x here. So this would be plus 0x squared, if you will. Minus x goes under the x value. And then finally, my last value is the constant, positive 4. So I put a plus 4 here, close parentheses. And we are adding. So I'm going to put a plus sign here, and we will be done. X cubed plus a negative x cubed cancels, gone. 2x squared plus nothing is still 2x squared. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4x. Negative 10 plus 4 is minus 6. This doesn't really look like an x. Still doesn't. 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. Is that right? No. What am I saying? Where am I getting 6 from? Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Plus 3. I don't know what I was thinking there. Get that out of the way. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. So the answer is 2x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay. There. Done. Okay, page 3, exercises 16 through 22. Actually, it's page 3 and probably 4. Review exercises 1 through 15 and then select one exercise for each category and record the steps in the operation below as an example. Be sure to show all of your work. So what I've done here is I've given you the numbers that pertain to addition, 12 and 15. Multiplication are 1, 4, 6, 9, 11, and 13. Subtraction is 2, 5, and 8. Division was 3, 7, 10, and 14. I'm not going to do this part for you. What you need to do is go back, watch the video, or try to do it on your own and list the steps in simplifying these operations. Okay. Okay, here's, what is this, page 4? Page 4, yes, page 4. Exercises 17 through 20, rewrite each polynomial in standard form by applying the operations in appropriate order. Order of operations, Remember this? These are your order of operations. Whenever you have a division symbol here like this, the numerator is a group. The denominator is a group. So what I want to do is do the top first and order of operations. So if I just focus on the top, I'm just going to leave the denominator alone right now. And I'm going to add my like terms. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 5x plus 6x is 11x. 20 minus 6 is 14. Okay, so I did my grouping first. The top group is done. This is now in standard form. So I'm going to take this group and divide it by this group. So in order to do that, we do it this way. X minus 2, 2x squared plus 11x plus 14. And now this is just like what we've been doing on the prior pages. So 2x squared divided by x is 2x. 2x times x, 2x squared. 2 times a negative 2 is negative 4x. Bring and subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. 11x minus a negative is plus. Careful. And this is 15x. Bring down my plus 14. X, 15x, I need a 15. Okay? 15 times x is 15x. 15 times a negative 2 is negative 30. Subtract, and I get 0. And 14 plus 30 is 44. I got a remainder. Okay, page 4. It says for exercises 17 through 20, rewrite each polynomial in standard form by applying the operations of the appropriate order. Appropriate order. Let's recap. Order of operations. Some say PEMDAS. I prefer the G for grouping. And whenever we see a fraction like this, the numerator is a group. The denominator is a group. So we focus on one group at a time. Nothing I can do with x plus 2, so I just leave that x plus 2. Combine like terms on the top. This is addition. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 5x plus 6x is 11x. 20 minus 6 is 14. Okay, so I have this and this. Now we're back to page 1 and 2 where we just do long division. So I'm going to write x plus 2 here, divided, and then 2x squared plus 11x plus 14. And I'm going to divide 2x squared divided by x is 2x. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 2 is 4x. Subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. 11x minus 4x is 7x. Bring down the plus 14. And x times what gives me 7x? Well, that's 7. So 7 times x is 7x. 7 times 2 is 14. So when I subtract, I get 7x minus 7x, which is 0. 14 minus 14 is 0. So my answer is 2x plus 7. Okay, number 18. Again, order of operations, grouping, look inside each parentheses. Is there anything I can do? X squared minus 4, no like terms. X plus 3, no like terms. X squared plus 2x minus 5, no like terms. There's nothing I can do within the parentheses. Next thing is, go back up here. So there was no grouping I could do. There's no exponents outside these groups, if you will, but there is multiplication right here. That right there is multiplication. So we have multiplication and we have subtraction. So we do multiplication first. So we're going to multiply this. So x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 3 is 3x squared. Okay. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times a positive 3 is negative 12. Okay, and then I'm just going to now write this like this. And since it's subtraction, I'm just going to line this up underneath what we just came up with. I have a minus parentheses. I'm going to put it over. Well, no, let's not put it over there. I'm going to put my spacer in. I'm going to put a parentheses here. I have an x squared. I don't have an x cubed. So I'm going to put 0x cubed here. I have an x squared. So I'm going to put plus x squared. I have a 2x. So I'm going to line that up with my x here. And I have a minus 5. Okay, careful. We are subtracting. Minus. X cubed minus 0x cubed is still x cubed. 3x squared minus x squared is 2x squared. Negative 4x minus 2x is negative 6x. And negative minus a negative is plus. Negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7. So I get x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 7. Okay. All right, number 19. We have a numerator. We have a denominator. We have two groups. Focus on the top first. So this is going to equal, and nothing is going to change on the bottom. X squared minus 6x plus 9. I need to multiply the top, though. I have to take care of this exponent first. So I'm going to, the x minus 3 cubed is the same as x minus 3 times itself 3 times. Okay, this is what x minus 3 cubed means. So I'm going to distribute in the first one first. X times x is x squared. X times a negative 3 is negative 3x. And then negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative times a negative is positive. 3 times 3 is 9. So when I combine those, I get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Bring this down. So I have this binomial. I'm going to put it out in front though, so it's less distributing. And I'm going to put x minus 3 out in front here. It could go over here, but I'm going to put it out here because multiplication is commutative. And we're going to continue now. X times x squared is x cubed. X times a negative is a negative 6x squared. And a positive times a positive is positive. X times 9 is 9x. Okay. And then I'm going to distribute this. Watch your sign. Negative times a positive is negative. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. Line up your like terms. So there's a 0x cubed here. Negative times a negative is positive. 3 times 6 is 18x. Negative times a positive is negative. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, so finally, when I get that done, I'm going to end up with x cubed minus 9x squared plus 27x minus 27. Whew. Okay, this is going to be my numerator right here. Let me just put it like this just to save time. So now I have this. X cubed minus 9x squared plus 27x minus 27 divided by this. All right, so now let me just erase this. And we're going to focus on this. X squared minus 6x plus 9. X cubed minus 9x squared plus 27x minus 27. And this is just simply long division. X cubed divided by x squared is going to start with a linear term x. X times x squared is x cubed. X times a negative 6x is negative 6x squared. Subtract. X cubed minus x cubed is 0. Negative 9 minus a negative is plus 6, which would be negative 3x squared. Bring down my plus 27x. X squared minus 3x squared, I need a minus 3. Negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times a negative 6x is negative 18x. And 9 times a negative 3 is a negative 27. So if I bring down this minus 27 as well and line these up, I get 9x. Okay, I made a mistake because I can't have a remainder. So that would be a problem. So I see where I made my mistake. So let me just back it up. I apologize for this. So let me just show you where I went wrong. I forgot something. Right here. If I'm going to multiply this by x, x times x squared is x cubed. X times negative 6x is negative 6x squared. I forgot to do my 9. 9 times x is 9x. And when I subtract this, I get 0. I get negative 3x squared. I get 27 minus 9 is 18 minus 27. And then when I look at this, I do need a minus 3. Negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative times a negative is positive. 6 times 3 is 18x. And a positive times a negative is negative. And 3 times 9 is 27. And when I subtract that, I do get 0. So I apologize. I forgot this right here when I was multiplying through. So the answer to this problem, when it's all said and done, is x minus 3. Okay, last one. Okay, I'm going to write this again. G-E-M-D-A-S. Grouping. X plus 7, can't do anything. 2x minus 3, no like terms. X cubed, x squared, x constant, no like terms. X minus 2, no like terms. Grouping's done. Exponents outside, nope, done. Multiply. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is this multiplication here. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times a negative 3 is negative 3x. 7 times 2 is 14x. I'm going to line up my like terms. 7 times a negative 3 is negative 21. Add these up, I get 2x squared plus 11x minus 21. I'm now going to bring down the rest of this. X cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 2 divide x minus 2. Okay, so all I've done here is gotten rid of these and combined and gotten this quadratic right here. Okay, first step, do one thing at a time. We just did the multiplication. Now what do we have? We have subtraction, we have division. Okay, what comes first? Division. So I'm going to ignore this right now. 2x squared plus 11x minus 21 minus, and then I'm going to work this over on the side here. X minus 2, x cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 2. Okay, these are quite lengthy problems, just be careful. X cubed divided by x is x squared. That's why they put erasers on the other end of our pencil. Nobody's perfect. I made a mistake in the last problem. You just gotta power through. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times a negative 2 is negative 2x squared. When I subtract these, I get 0, and negative 2 minus a negative is plus. That's 0. Bring down my plus x minus 2. And so I'm ignoring all of this right here. X, well, that's going to be plus 1. Okay, 1 times x minus 2 is x minus 2. And when I subtract those, I get 0. So now I have 2x squared plus 11x minus 21. And this whole thing here now is just simply x squared minus 2. And if I write that underneath here, and then rearrange it so that it's lined up. Okay, what did I have? Plus 1. Okay, and I'm going to subtract right here. So I just took this x squared plus 1 and wrote it here, x squared plus 0x plus 1. I put a spacer in. I'm subtracting it from this here. 2x squared minus x squared is x squared. 11 minus nothing is 11x, and negative 21 minus 1 is negative 22. Whew. All right, there it is. Whoop. All righty, page 5, number 21. What would be the first and last terms of the polynomial? First and last terms of the polynomial if it was rewritten in standard form. Answer these quickly without performing all of the indicated operations. All righty, so in order to get the first term, we want to multiply or combine like terms, and the first term is the largest power. So I have a degree of 3, 2, 1 constant, 2, 3, 1 constant. So the largest power we have is 3, and the largest power we have is 3. So this would give us our first term. 2x cubed plus a negative 6x cubed is negative 4x cubed. Okay? And then to get the last term, it's just our lowest power or our constant. We have a 7, we have a negative 9. 7 plus negative 9 is negative 2. So here's my first term, and here's my last term. Okay? B, x. This is 3 binomials multiplied. If we multiply the first term times the first term times the first term, that will give us our new first term. So it's x times 2x, which is 2x squared, times another x, which would give us 2x cubed. There's our first term. To get our constant at the end, we just multiply the constants without distributing everything. We just need the first and last. Negative 3 times a positive 3 is negative 9, times a negative 1 is a positive 9. So my first term is 2x cubed. My last term is 9. All righty. Part C, a little bit more difficult. We've got a bit more of a mess here. We need to be careful. I have a 2x here. I have a 3x here. I multiply those and I get 6x squared. Over here, I have x times 2x squared. That will give me a 2x cubed. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to erase this because that does not have an x cubed. So my first term is 2x cubed, and it's minus, I need to be careful there. It's 0x cubed minus 2x cubed, so it would be a negative 2x cubed. There's my first term. Okay, just be real careful there. And then my last term is just simply going to be negative 3 times 5, which is negative 15. And don't forget, we're subtracting. So let me just move this over here. This is negative 15, and we're going to subtract my 1 times 3, which is 3, and that will give me my last term of negative 18. Okay, so negative 2x cubed is the first term and negative 18 is my last term. That one was a little more complicated, but just be careful. All righty, so here I'm just going to focus on this here. This 2 has to go here. So it would be FOIL, it would actually come out to be x squared minus 8x plus 16. I only need the first term, which would be x times x. This will give us an x squared. And over here, I have an x times 3x, which would be 3x squared. So 3x squared minus x squared will give us a first term of 2x squared. And then if I switch to my constants, I need to be careful here. A positive 5 times a negative 1 is a negative 5. And we're subtracting a negative 4 squared, which is 16. So when I take negative 5 minus 16, I get negative 21. So my first term is 2x squared, and my last square term is negative 21. Okay, number 22 has a misprint. It took me a couple seconds to figure out what was going on here because I have the key, so I kind of worked with the answer to see how they got that answer. These 3 dots right here, vertical, there's no such symbol in math. What they meant to do is have it this way, meaning n plus 1 times n plus 2 times n plus 3 and times n plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then out all the way to n plus 9, n plus 10. So this just meant a continuation in between. So if I wanted to know the first term and I have 1, 2, 3, well, there'd be a plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There'd be 5 more terms in there, so 5 more n. So 1n, 2n, 3n, 5n more would be 8, 9, 10. So it'd be n times n times n, which would be n to the 10th, okay? N to the 1, n to the 1 would be 1 plus 1 plus 1 10 times, or n to the 10. That's the 10th. So that would be the first term, n to the 10th. Then if I multiply the last term, well, it's 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7 times 8 times 9 times 10. Well, just to save time, I'm going to use my calculator, because when you multiply all integers starting at 1 and counting up, that's called factorial. So if I do 10, because there's 10 values, and I go to math, arrow over to number, where is factorial? I can't remember. Let me look. Is it under probability? Yes, right there. So let's do that again. Clear. So what you do when you want to do a factorial, you do 10, and then you go math, arrow over to probability, and it's number 4. So 10 exclamation 4, enter, 3, 6, 2, 8, 8, 0, 0. So my last term would be 10 factorial, but 10 factorial is 3,628,800. Okay, if you wanted to actually say what that value is. All righty. All right, number 22b, x. So think of this as x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 2 dot, 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 like they should have done here, and x minus 2 all the way out 10 times, okay? So if I multiply my first terms, it's just going to be x to the 10th, and it's going to be negative 2 to the 10th power. So negative 2 to the 10th power, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And negative doesn't matter because the power is even, so it will be a positive number. And I get 1024. So that would be my last term, but if I wanted to say it, it'd be 1024. Negative 2 to the 10th. Okay, so here we have the same thing. So if my first term were x to the 10th, which we got from up here, notice this here is b. So I got x to the 10th, and then something in between, and then minus or negative 2 to the 10th out at the end, and I divide that by x minus 2. Well, the division property says to subtract exponents. So this is 2 to the 1. So x to the 10th divided by x to the 1 is x to the 10 minus 1, or x to the 9. And negative 2 to the 10th minus 1 would be negative 2 to the 9th. And if I wanted to know what that is, then I'll just do this. Negative 2 to the 9th power is negative 512. So your first term is x to the 9th, and your last term is negative 2 to the 9th, which is negative 512. Okay? In this one, n times n is n squared. N squared times 2n is 2n cubed. I'm dividing by 6, so it won't change my first term. There's my first term. Or will it? Yes, divided by 6. So that would be n to the 3rd over 3. I had to give that some thought here. Okay, n to the 3rd over 3, or 1/3 n cubed. My last term is going to be 1 times 1, which is 1 divided by 6, or 1/6. Okay, so there's that. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not right. I need to multiply that by n. N times 1 is n times another 1 is n. This should be n divided by 6, or 1/6 n. Okay, that's an n right here. Alrighty, n divided by 6 is my last term. I forgot to multiply by that n. So it would be n times 1, which is n times 1, which is still n divided by 6, which is n divided by 6, or 1/6 n. All right, page 6 brings us to the end of lesson 5. We've put it all together. Now let the glue dry and hopefully it'll stick. Go to your problem set.